This is James Dixon for Event Industry News. We're at Glastonbudget 2015. The festival has just got underway. The first band have just left the stage, and I'm pleased to say that Nick Tanner, co-founder and festival director of Glastonbudget, is joining us today. Nick, we're off and running this year. Tell us a little bit about Glastonbudget 2015. How many people we're going to be expecting over this weekend?
We should be expecting around 10,000 people attending, pretty similar to last year's attendance figures. The first year we slightly overcatered for things. We probably had wasn't as big as this, the setup, but we're a bit over-egging it a bit. I think we're expecting about 5,000. We got 680 people.
Well, hey, you've got to think big.
Bad, though. We've got to think big, yeah. Eventually we got there, but I think people were commenting that there was one toilet per person in the first year. So I think we spoiled them all.
VIP camping for everybody.
Yeah.
How have things developed over the years now? We look at this site, I understand the festival has always been on this site. What challenges does the site pose? Is it an easy site to work with for a festival organiser?
It's very easy. I think it helps having the landowner being so helpful as well. He likes to get his hands dirty over the build of the event, over the show days as well. If we get any problems, he'll jump in his JCB and just drive around and help out. He's great. But I think any site presents problems with the weather that's chucked at it. I think we've had our fair share of bad weather here. This year we've built roads. We're stood on what we call the M4 now, because it goes all the way down to the big top. But yeah, it's generally a really good site, a really good showground.
In terms of your own experience as a festival organiser, again going back to those early days and to where we are now, how has your own experience developed, and how important has it been to build a team of people around you as the festival itself has grown?
It's extremely important to get people you can trust in the roles that you need them to do over the weekend, and it can, like today, Friday, people have to find their feet again. Give them 24 hours and everything clicks into place, and they kind of remember how things work. 'Cause we only do this once a year at the moment, so.
Any festival has got to work with their local authority,
Yes.
and there'll be loads of sort of different things that you've got to work with them on. How accommodating are they? How are the guys that you have to work with, and what the sort of the challenges or stipulations that you have to work within?
The local authority, they love getting us to jump through different hoops every year. It's great. It presents challenges. I suppose the job would be boring if we didn't have a local authority to throw these things at us.
And what's new for this year, and what have you brought in this year by way of technical production or changes to the site layout that's helped to improve things?
I think the layout, I think the roads that we've put in this year, the gravel tracks that we've put in, even though it's looking like it's going to be a nice weekend, would help greatly with the infrastructure and movement of vehicles around site. But as far as the actual technical side goes, I think the biggest change this year is the silent disco we've introduced into the big top. It's going to be quite interesting. It's something we've never done before. It's a 2-channel silent disco, and the idea is to have like a rock channel and then a rave channel. So you'll have people with their guitar and then people raving. So it'd be quite surreal to look in if you didn't have a set of headphones and just look at like the mix of people doing different stuff. Add some alcohol into that and it's going to get a bit crazy, I think.
In terms of the layout of the site itself, the stages and all the different infrastructure that has to go in, how has that changed over the years, and is there anything significantly different this year than there was last year, for example, in terms of where things are actually located on the site?
I think since year 2, we had the main stage in year 1, the opposite end of the site. Year 2 we switched round, and since then the main stage hasn't really moved. It stayed pretty much behind us where it is now. It moved back a lot further over the years to create more arena space, but generally speaking we sort of say to ourselves, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So if it works, if the layout works for us every year, then we just stick to it. It's not really changed much at all.
Nick, you mentioned that Glastonbudget takes place once a year at the moment. Anything that we can draw out of that comment?
Well, I suppose there's two things we can look at, or we're trying to look at. Is basically, we've been told Glastonbudget is a great little model to maybe take elsewhere. So maybe an idea of kind of the Leeds Reading thing going on, so north and south. On the same weekend, and we swap the days over. And the other thing is the farmer. We're developing this site all the time with the farmer, turning it into a really good festival site. We're thinking about maybe doing some other events on this farm as well.
In terms of the site infrastructure and the elements that you need to stage a festival, and the key elements that you need, things like power, things like water, things like vehicular access, you mentioned the roads, but is there anything else that's gone down permanently, or any developments to the site that have been made on a permanent basis to facilitate that?
I think we started year on year. It was getting water around site, basically, because we're expanding every year into different fields for campsites, and we've had to extend all the water lines. That's been a year-on-year thing we've done every year. We've had to go a little bit further with it. It's something that the council obviously require from us as well. They've stipulated that we need to get fresh, potable water to people that are camping.
When we're talking about the local authority and some of the hoops, inevitably there are always going to be hoops to jump through, but how rural is the location? Are there local residents? What you like from a noise point of view, and what restrictions are there?
Year on year, I think the council have got a little bit more heavy-handed with us with regards to the noise levels. Generally, we don't get a lot of complaints. A lot of the local residents like to support the event and attend it, but we do get the odd complaint made to the council, and they have to be seen to be acting upon it. So they do, again, create some hoops for us to jump through every year. Noise is one of the ones that we've had to now get a professional company in to actually monitor the noise levels on and off site. To meet the council's licence conditions that they're applying on us, but it's moving forward with it. When we can, having this company on board, we can manage it better.
We're aware of an involvement with some of the students from Loughborough College. Tell us a little bit about that. When did it start, and what's their involvement?
We first approached Loughborough College to supply a few bands from their students. They do their management courses there, their event management courses. So I think the relationship grew over like 2 or 3 years, and they wanted to get more involved in the festival, and we wanted to get them more involved as well. So this relationship kind of forged about 2-3 years ago. We've actually ended up calling a LOCO stage, which is short for Loughborough College, where they supply a lot of the kit, so a lot of the PA, the staging going in there, and then their students come and run it as well for some live experience on the weekend. We also, me and Murray, our employee, we go to the college a couple of times a year, and we go and lecture to some of the students about event management.
Which is fantastic, and as you said, it's given them real life hands-on experience rather than just theorising about it in a college.
It's the festival industry or the events industry. You can't just do it from a textbook. You've got to go into a live environment to learn the key skills needed, I think, definitely. And
do you think being an independent festival, that gives you more flexibility to be able to go off and do things like that, where some of the major festivals who are owned by the big companies perhaps can't look to explore relationships on a local level like that?
Definitely. I think that the big commercial festivals are kind of tied down by the big sponsors as such, and what they can do. So we're very proud, I suppose, to be independent. I mean, we're members of the AIF, as are Glastonbury as well. It's not that we don't dislike the other ones, but we're very proud to be who we are.
Simon Taylor from One Big Start, good to see you again.
Hello, James from Event Industry News.
And okay, so we've kicked things off. We spoke to Nick earlier on today. Tell us about your involvement with Glastonbudget. How many years on the trot is it for you guys now?
I think we worked out it was about 7. We were a 10-year-old business this year, and I think it was after 3 years we met the guys and came in. They've been going about 4 years at the time, and they're 11 this year, so I reckon 7 years.
And as a relationship with the organisers, how did you become involved on that first year?
It's a local gig for us. We're in Wymesall in Leicestershire. About 20 miles down the road is Newark-on-Trent. That's where we're based, on the A1 at Newark. It came up as a festival. We knew they'd had a supplier in, weren't that happy. We made a phone call, we had a beer, and they said, yeah, we'll come and give you a try for a year, and it's just grown from there, really.
And 7 years on, we stand here, and you guys are really got a major involvement in this event. Tell us a little bit about the production and all the elements that you actually supply now.
Okay, so there's a few smaller stages which are run by local charities and what have you, but the 2 main stages, the one you see behind us, which is obviously the main arena stage, there's also a big top stage which you guys had a look at earlier, watching some of our guys work at. We do full production on those, so we don't do the stage cover, and we don't do the marquee or the big top, but everything inside it, stage, sound, light, video, that's all ours, and the majority of the crew are ours as well.
we're looking at the production and the infrastructure and everything that's gone in, and it's impressive. And there are going to be a lot of people out there watching this who have heard the name Glastonbudget before and who have maybe pigeonholed it. Who maybe think, it's a little festival somewhere, it's a tribute band festival. This is really, top end stuff, isn't it? And we've got a lot of guys on site here who've really come in to work on this instead of going to some other major events.
Absolutely. It's kind of an industry mates thing for us as well. There's quite a few guys that are working on this that are high-end global guys that will go and do video or audio or lighting for many named acts at many named festivals. For many years they've been working on this with us. We've been involved in the industry a long time. We invite them along, they come and do stuff for us. They get paid, but they could be doing probably far more profitable things with their weekend, but it's great. We do things differently, and like you say, it starts the summer off for everybody. It's like underlines the summer, so it's great. Every year we bring more video to the point where I don't think main stage could take much more video. Again, that's an opportunity to play with some new toys. We've got some of the new Green Hippo casts on the inventory this year. We wanted to bring those out in a festival environment. They've done some great work over the winter in some corporate gigs, some exhibition work. As you know, we work across a huge gamut of different things. But it's nice to bring it out, get it on a festival stage and just see what they're capable of. So yeah, we're always investing. Bought some new PA this year. Again, it's great to get it out in the field. It's been in Olympia and Earls Court, well not Earls Court, but Excel. All winter, and it's nice to get it outside and see how it works in the field. So it's we spend a lot of money on kit. It's nice to see how it works in different environments, and so far so good.
And when the lights go down after the last band at the end of this weekend, where's the One Big Star tour bus heading off to next?
We've got to rip this out. That'll be a Monday load out, back to the unit, and the following Monday we head off to Epsom for the Epsom Derby, where we're doing a main stage and lots of AV and lots of marquees, and as you can imagine, it's a very varied event for us.
We're going to wrap it up there. It's day one. You've got a long and busy weekend, no doubt, ahead of you. Simon, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, James. Bless you.
Steve from One Big Star, Nigel from Green Hippo, now joining us just behind the main stage here. Steve, we'll come to you first of all. As Simon alluded to earlier, this is the 7th year that One Big Star have been involved in the production of Glastonbudget. You don't have major technical riders from the artists themselves. You're not working with major name artists. So from a creative point of view, how difficult is it, or how much of a task is it every year to sit down and put together a lighting design that really works and stretches you guys?
I mean, essentially, it's the same stage setup every year. We have two main stages, the main stage behind us, outdoor stage, and the big top stage. We try and change it every year, looks-wise, audio-wise, stage size-wise. The bands get bigger, which is nice, so we can use lots more production, we can use lots more lighting, new kit that we bought over the last 12 months. Try and give it a fresh look every year. The bands love it because, of course, they can get their logos up there. We can produce videos with all their visuals on it, all that kind of stuff. We've got around 16 guys across audio, visual and lighting, of course, and of course the build crew that came and went, and we'll come back to break down.
And let's talk to Nigel for a second. Nigel from Green Hippo. Tell us about, first of all, what it is that you guys are doing on site here and how that ties in with the production work that One Big Star are doing.
Absolutely. I sort of have two roles really. It's an organic role that grew from me coming to the first gig about 7 years ago and seeing the bands and basically just feeling that there was something missing on stage, and I coerced them into putting a screen on there. I said, look, if you do that, if you get a screen on there, I'll come down and I'll twiddle some knobs and put some content up, and we'll get something going. And it's sort of grown from there really. And so leading up to the show, I worked with Steve to design a visual rig that's sort of different and exciting every year. We've never had the same thing twice. And then during the shows, I, along with a couple of colleagues, operate front of house, and we effectively VJ. And that's just like busking. It's just feeling the music, putting on whatever you think is going to look good on the screens, and trying to give a feel that matches with the lighting and also gets the crowd going at the right moments.
And how important is it for you guys to actually monitor the reaction of the crowd year on year, see what the crowd have liked, and see how you can either tweak things or refine them for each year? Is it something that you watch closely, Steve?
Absolutely, you can tell by the crowd's reaction certainly when you do crowd scanning with the cameras. Of course, we've introduced cameras as well recently to the visual. We've got 2 IMAG screens this year with a nice 5mm pitch on those. So you can zoom into a nice hen or stag party and they absolutely go wild. They love it, don't they? To be honest, they do. And with the robo cams and stuff that Nige brings along, it just adds a whole new dimension to what you're trying to do. And 3 screens this year works really well. You've got some visuals on the centre screen, and you can do some IMAGs on the outsides. It just involves the band, the crowd, everything together, logos, band logos, Glastonbudget logos, all those kind of things.
The last 3 or 4 years, yeah, the size of it hasn't really grown. It's the same amount of people can run it, up to a certain point. But before that, I mean, we used to do some of the litter picking ourselves. Now we've grown to a point where we need a company to come in and do the litter picking, to manage it all weekend, because it's just not humanly possible to do it, do everything yourself. But yeah, a lot of the companies that we're using, they've kind of grown with us. So they started out a bit small, not small, but like One Big Star, for instance, they were a fairly new company when we'd started. I think they started the same year as us, but we only used them the first year in 2009. But they've grown as a company as we've grown as a festival as well. It's not possible to deal with everything that needs to be organised on an event this size. And there's a lot of trust needed, and you have to have a lot of patience with people. If they don't quite get it first time round, you can't go shout at them. You just got to let them, find their feet, basically.